Hey everybody, what's going on? Hope you guys are doing good. I'm doing just great. You know, some auto manufacturers would call this done. Not me. Hey everybody, hope you guys had a great 4th of July. Mine was fantastic. Had friends, food, and got to blow up some shit. Yeah, you can't ask for anything more. Well, maybe some alcohol in between there, but I'm not a drinker. So, had to stick with the friends, food, and blowing up shit. You know, our village over here, Streamwood, puts off a firework display every year, and it used to be really nice. I mean, it used to be really good. Lately, and this year including, it's been kind of like shit. Their display sucks. They may have a couple of specialty, I don't know, bombs or whatever that would blow up in the sky and make like this year, you know, they had a heart, just certain designs. And every year it seems like they have a couple of, maybe they're too expensive or what, but as far as the village of Streamwood goes over here, they've been ripping up, like in front of my house, replacing sidewalks and curbs and getting ready to redo the streets again. And they really don't need it, so it can't be money problems that the village is having. But, oh well, fireworks are just going to get shittier and shittier every year. So, some car manufacturers would call this complete. I mean, this is really, besides my smudgy fingerprints being all over it, very minimum orange peel. And what I did is I sprayed this outside, so it's got a couple of specks in it here and here, which hopefully will sand out with the wet sanding when I'm going to start doing that. That's kind of the bad thing about spraying outside. If it's a windy day, you're guaranteed you're going to get something in the finish. If it ain't a bug, it's going to be one of those, what they call those seeds, dandelion seeds or cottonwood seed or whatever it's called. You're going to get it in the finish, which becomes a little bit of a pain in the ass because you can't just pick it out, you know. Or a lot of your paint gets wasted because of the direction of the wind is blowing. So if you're facing this and trying to spray it and the wind's coming towards you, well, I'll guarantee you a lot of that spray that's supposed to go on your project is going to be going someplace else. And that causes a lot of waste in materials. So I'll be building a spray booth in the garage for doing this. This way I will be out of the elements, and if I do more work in the winter time, well, I got a heated garage, so this works out fantastic as far as being able to spray and keep comfy and everything else. So that's what's going to be happening very, very soon. Now I got the table for the laser etching. I've got a table for it, and now I just have to figure out where we're going to set it up in the garage at and get that thing up and going, because I want to do some laser etching on the bodies of these guitars, filling them in with paint, and you know, doing some custom work that way and see how that goes. But yeah, a lot of car manufacturers, automobile manufacturers would call this completed. I mean, this worked out really good. So the level sanding as far as blending the decal into the clear coat has been done already, and I end up shooting this with a few more coats of clear. Now I have the green terror neck hanging up on the other side of the wall over here, and that's basically drying. It's got some clear on it, and then I have to do some wet sanding on that thing to dull it down the clear to make it look more of a matte finish than a black glossy finish. This is not a diamond cut graphic decal, okay? This I ended up ordering online thinking I was going to do another project with it, and didn't do that, but it came with the Ibanez decal for the headstock, so that's why I bought this and figured, well, if I do anything, I'll have a decal for an Ibanez. But as far as the vine goes and everything else, I was planning on putting that on something else. But you guys said no, I didn't do it. So it went on here, and I think it worked out pretty good. The nice thing about this decal, which changes the effect of how it looks, is this decal is a lot thicker than what Diamond Cut Graphics is. Now, I'm not saying that this decal is better than Diamond Cut Graphics. I like Diamond Cut Graphics. Fantastic product. Decals are really, really thin. Easy to blend them in as far as being underneath a clear coat. This one here is not. So you have to be careful. Like I said, it's a little bit thicker. But this adds an effect to it. If you were to bend this in certain ways, okay, you'll see a shadow around the edges of this decal, giving it a little bit of a just an effect in details and stuff, which actually kind of looks pretty cool. So what I ended up doing is, you saw me in a video that I posted about putting the decal on here, and then I fogged in the edges. I didn't video that because it's hard to use a camera and paint at the same time, and not get paint or overspray on the camera. So I fogged in the edges with it, and I fogged over some of the decal, which kind of made it look, it changes in lighting and stuff. Now, the one thing, if I ever do anything like this, what I'm going to end up doing is pulling out the airbrush and airbrush the leaves that are on these decals, give it some more depth, and yeah, that worked out really perfect. So right now is sanding time, and the headstock for this is complete. I already got the tuners on, I got the nut on it, and that's just sitting off to the side waiting for this so I could join the two together. I ended up getting some clear coat inside of the pocket over here, so I level sanded that a little bit with a block, and ended up the sides and everything else. So when a lot of people say, oh, well, the neck needs to be really tight or snug inside of your neck pocket, not necessarily, because that causes cracks here and here if it's too tight, and that's finish cracks because you are actually pushing the wood. The wood's not cracking or separating from the body of the guitar or the neck pocket area, but you are pushing the wood, and the wood expands a little bit to where one side goes out, the other side stays in, and it causes a crack in the finish. Not going to happen with this. So I am using 2000 grit sandpaper. Yes, I said 2000 grit sandpaper because I don't have to level anything. Everything is pretty much good. And I have some like overspray when I spray it out over here, so it looks a little bit dotty instead of like smooth like this area and all this is. So it's a little overspray right there. That's not a big deal. That'll sand out. And the sides, nice and smooth. So yeah, this thing really came out nice. I'm really, really happy with the turnout on this. The color, the vine, the headstock, the body, the shading, everything. It just came out really, really nice. The only thing is I'm going to have to probably re-drill out some of these holes. Getting this to be nice and shiny is not really a pain in the ass if you know how to do it when you're spraying. And it's kind of like a fast spray in this area over here, and make sure you get all the way around. And then when you go over with your coats on there and go over slow back and forth and overlap, it gets a nice gloss finish inside of here. And this will not get sanded or buffed out because I don't have a buffing wheel that I can fit inside there. So right now I got my 2000 grit sandpaper. As you can see, 2000 grit sandpaper. And I'm going to demonstrate something on the neck, which the neck for Green Terror is going to be a flat black. So I can do something with it and demonstrate, show you guys not to use paper towel, period, on anything that you're doing as far as a finish. Now, somebody said that, well, using a paper towel is like using like 2000 grit sandpaper on your finish. Not necessarily. It depends on the paper towel that you're using as far as wiping it on a finish goes. And anything that is a light color, paper towel isn't really going to show on a lighter color than it would as far as a darker color, and it's more of a scuff than 2000 grit sandpaper. This is 2000 grit sandpaper. So I am going to wet this. Now all these holes are drilled in, but they're sealed with clear coat. So I don't have to worry about if water gets inside those holes, it's going to swell up and crack the finish. So I don't have to worry about that because those holes are pretty much sealed. And I did swap over all of the components for the bridge for this that I needed to swap over in order to get the bridge to work and look the way that I want it to. So here's a little bit about that. What I'm doing here is, this is the Ibanez trim, and I need to do some major cleaning on it. I mean, this is just ridiculous as far as how dirty it is. This one here is a spare that I was thinking about maybe putting the chrome one on there, or Cosmo Black, but then I have to change out the tuners, I have to change out some of the hardware, and I really don't feel like doing that. And because of how dark the body is as far as the color scheme that I went, I think black is going to be a better choice. But considering how the fine tuners on this one, the plating is rusted and pitting and stuff. Now, if I were to bring this to the machine that I have in the garage and use the polishing wheel to remove whatever rust that's on here, well, the plating is already gone on this, number one. Number two, that rust is just going to come back. So I am not going to go that route. Since I have a spare, I'm going to be taking the parts off of the spare. Now, in order to remove your fine tuners, there are little locks on here that you have to use in order to, or remove actually, in order to get these fine tuners off. Now, both of these were missing some, so I have 5 of the little clips here, and they're just made out of plastic, and I have to steal some clips off of this one in order for it to work properly. Now, there is a difference here on this one here. This one here, this bottom plate is screwed onto this one, and this one here looks like it is either molded or it is threaded through the top screws here, which these screws are going to get replaced as well with these ones here. These ones here look a lot nicer and a lot cleaner, but the rest of the body of this is pretty good. Now, is this the one that is in step? Yeah. All right. So a lot of times you'll find a number underneath your saddles over here, and that number is pretty much like the order. So it'll start like 1, 2, 3, and then it'll be 1, 2, 3. That is because of the thickness of the saddle itself. This one here, it is stepped with the bridge, so, or the bridge plate, so I really don't have to worry about that. But I do need to get some tools over here. So there's going to be a lot of parts I'll be swapping off from one to the other. Don't lose the washer that is underneath those screws. Yeah, this is not even intonated as far as when I got the guitar. The bridge is pretty much still like all the saddles are lined up with the front of the bridge. Kind of things that, you know, whoever owned this guitar really didn't do nothing with it. That's why the body and stuff was in pretty good shape. And like I said, I've been finding these guitars pretty cheap. Minor work that needs to be done on them. Alright, so yeah, these don't have it on there. They don't have a number or anything on them. Springs are pretty good in this thing. A little bit of wear. You can see some of the brass or copper that's underneath here from the electroplating. But I am still going to put these in order that I took them off of, because I don't want to have an issue with anything. So yeah, you can see that it's pretty dirty. This is, yeah, kind of nasty. So I'm going to clean this thing before I start taking anything off of this to put on this. I do want to make sure that this block is tight. Otherwise, that can cause issues later on. A little bit loose, not much. Now I don't think I have to take off this, do I? Is it loose? Because I know one of them that I had, this was kind of loose and it was causing me an issue, and I really couldn't get it taken apart to fix it. No, it's fine. Should be okay. Alright, so I've got a little bit of a chrome polish here. I'm using the Mothers. And what I want to do is I want to test this out in one area to see if it's going to remove any of the plating that's on here. And if it does, then I won't be using that to clean. Yeah, see, this is going to start removing plating. You can kind of see it right there. There's a little bit of a light spot. If you can't see it, I'll bring it in. Right where I rubbed it, there's a light spot, so that's going to remove plating. I don't want to use that. So I'm going to have to use something else for cleaning. So that means no rubbing compounds, no chrome polish. Probably just going to be using a little bit of water on a rag to clean this thing up. Because that'll work too. Get all the nooks and crannies. It's much better. The black is nice and shiny. All the crud and crap that was, almost all of it, that was in all the corners is all removed. Alright, so that's the bridge plate. Let's see what these saddles are going to be like. Alright, so the bridge plate's done, the saddles are done. Let's get moving on to some of these other parts that I need to assemble. So here are the two screws that mount this thing in place. The nuts on these are a little bit shitty. So I'm going to use some other shitty nuts that I found. Those I'm going to use a little bit of polish on. Also, these brackets here, the hinges, I'm going to use a little polish on them as well. Now these guys here are stamped for some reason, but they go like this. So that stamp goes on the bottom. So compared to one nut here, which is that one I just got done cleaning, and this is the other one that I need to start cleaning. So you can see a difference right away. Alright, so that is a lot better than what it was. Now these have spring washers, and if you don't know what a spring washer is, it's a washer, looks like a washer, but it is kind of wavy going around the edges. So instead of being flat, it's got a little bit of a wave going around it, and what that does is it kind of gives a retention or tension when you compress them. And this is supposed to move freely but under a little bit of tension. And what these are is these are the posts that go inside of here that help you adjust your action height. So I'm going to give these guys a little bit of a cleanup too. They're not in bad shape at all. Alright, so to assemble these is pretty simple. Now, because there is really no flat surface on the bottom over here, and it's beveled on the edge, so there's no washer that goes on the bottom over here. The washers all go on top where the nut would be. So I'm going to give this thing a little bit of a clean too. Try not to get any crap in the bearing or close to the bearing. Now this one here already came with the silver parts on the bridge, so I'm going to go and continue with the theme that they have with the bridge, but that's about it. Now I'm not going to oil or do anything with this bearing. These are sealed bearings, so that I really shouldn't put any oil or anything in them. Actually, they're not sealed, they're open. I thought they had a plastic ring around there, but they're open, but I'm not putting anything inside of them. Alright, so let's assemble one of these. So you have your post, you have your hinge. Usually there's 2 washers on here, but mine came with 3. So I'm putting 3 washers back along with the nut. And then I need to tighten that up. So what size was this? There you go. That's not it. Now this should turn. Yep, that turns. You want that to be free to turn still. It's under tension, but it still turns, and you're not loosening up the nut at all because the nut is snug. I can go ahead and start putting these saddles back on here, but I am going to use, let's see, how do these screws look? And if I clean them up a little bit, what do they look like? Oh, they come out clean. Oh, that's nice. They come out really clean. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put these on. Alright, so I know it's not intonated properly, but that should give me the ballpark of where I need to be. And then these guys here. Slide in there. Don't force these in. Let them find their way in. And I think this is like the best trem setup ever. Being hinged like this, no blades to be worn out, very simple to use. They should make them all like this. At least so I need to steal some parts off of them. One of them is this piece right here. Which, do not get this mixed up with one of these, because it'd be very easy to do one of these tuning keys. This is a little bit longer. There is no notch over here for the locks, and there is no shaft over here the way shank should be on this one here. But this is for using for intonation. It's nice that it comes with its own tool, and I'm going to use that for here. There is a rubber O-ring underneath it that kind of keeps it in place so it doesn't vibrate loose. And then on this side here I have the whammy bar, and it's got the silver so it'll match on both sides. Now to start stealing parts off of this one. Alright, so like I said, there are lock washers underneath these, or locking springs, clips, sorry. But some of them don't have them. Like that one doesn't have it. Because I've used parts off of this before for other guitars. That's why I said it's nice to have spare parts. Don't throw shit away. There's that one. This one here, it's got a clip on it, so I gotta get rid of that clip. There you go. And that's the other clips because I am going to need that. Alright, so put the clip back in. Try not to let it shoot out at you. That's one. Get in place. Alright, that is much better with the newer recycled parts on it. Much better. Everything's clean now. I've got the hinges put together, polished up really nice. And then all my spare parts will go in the box with everything else. And that's that for now. Alright, so I love this thing. This is a 3-in-1. It's a vacuum, it's a blower. I don't know what else it does, but yeah, I kind of like it. And in this case, it's helping me blow the top of the body dry, and I can see where I need to focus on, you know, continuing sanding to get some of this thing leveled out, like a little bit right over here where it's still kind of shiny, a little over here. There's a couple of spots around here that have a little bit of a shine to them still, a little bit up here in this horn that has a little bit of the overspray on there. So that still needs another sanding, and what I'm doing is I'm using a block to sand this because I want this top to be nice and flat, and all you see are the curves of the body with the clear on top of it. Now, as you can see, it's looking pretty nice. I mean, even at a fade, you know, not so much of a gloss finish, it still looks pretty good, but without this gloss finish, you miss all the details as far as the flake that's inside the finish goes. The orange, blood orange, pops a lot more, and you just get a lot more detail with the clear coat on there. So this is looking pretty good. I'm going to have to sand it a few more times just to get out any imperfections and the waviness, orange peel, or whatnot that's in this finish completely out before buffing. 2000 grit sandpaper right now. 2500 grit sandpaper after that. Then buff. So this is where it boils down to. The buffing. So let's get into it. 2000, 2500 grit sandpaper. Don't need to go any higher than that with this. I'm going to go ahead and start putting my rubbing compound on here and start doing some buffing.
Destiny is a rising sun. Oh, I was born, 6-gun in my hand. Behind a gun, I make my final stand. That's why they call me bad company, and I can't deny bad company till the day I die. Till the day I die. Till the day I die. Rebel souls, deserters we are called. Chose a gun and threw away the sword. Now these towns, they all know our name. 6